education in this country, not indoctrination in this country.
Our public schools have been taken over by the radical left maniacs.
We're going to go for educational freedom in the extreme.
The problems that we've seen are because these lockdown states locked their kids out of school for a year, year and a half. That was wrong.
We will cut federal funding for any school or program pushing critical race theory.
Why is it that you have, kids undergoing critical race theory, where if a little girl's in kindergarten, if she's goes into kindergarten, if she's white, you're telling her she's bad. If she's brown or black, you're telling her she's never going to be good enough and she's always going to be a victim.
In Florida, we eliminated critical race theory from our K through 12 schools.
Young people don't value a country they're taught to hate.
We need transparency in the classroom because parents should never have to wonder what's being said or taught to their children.
We fight on those grounds to ensure that the parents have a seat at the table.
The idea that every school district, state, and every teacher is somehow indoctrinating people is just false.
German Nazism, which is identity politics on steroids, compared with Soviet Marxism, which is an oppressor-oppressed narrative on steroids. Put them together, and then you get their love child of modern wokeism, which unfortunately has found its way into the American classroom.
We will create a new credentialing body that will be the gold standard anywhere in the world to certify teachers who embrace patriotic values.
Every high school senior should have to pass the same civics test that, frankly, every immigrant, including my mother, had to pass in order to become a citizen of this country.
As president, I'm going to lead an effort to increase civic understanding and knowledge of our Constitution. We cannot be graduating students that don't have any foundation in what it means to be an American.
When 1 of every 3 children in this country does not read at grade level, that is a crisis, everybody.
If a child can't read by 3rd grade, they're 4 times less likely to graduate high school. So we need to make sure we bring in reading remediation all over this country.
We spend $800 billion a year in this country on K-12 education, and we're getting mediocre results.
We spend more per student by double and triple than any other country, and yet we're ranked at the bottom of the list.
Many of our most vulnerable populations are relegated to some of the most failing and dangerous schools in this country. Parents ought to be able to choose where their children go to school, public, private, parochial, or homeschool.
Every single parent deserves a choice.
Parents need to be deciding which schools their kids go to because they know best.
I want every parent in this country to decide where their kids go to school.
I have confidence that our public schools can compete with our private schools, and they will be more responsive to the goals and the values of the people of their community when they have to compete for those students.
End the teachers' unions at the local level to allow public schools to compete.
We have been absolutely dominated by the teachers' unions in this country.
The only way we change education in this nation is to break the backs of the teachers' unions. They are standing in the doorhouse of our kids, locking them into failing schools.
They now have a teachers' union member who goes to bed every night with the President of the United States. That's a pretty good lobbyist to have, everybody, let me tell you.
Teachers who are really excellent, they should be able to earn more money, just like you do in the private sector.
We're a capitalist country, for God's sake. Everybody should be incentivized by being paid more for doing better.
I want to close the Department of Education and move education back to the states where it belongs and where parents have total control of their children's lives.
I would shut down the U.S. Department of Education.
If I'm your president, we're going to shut down the Federal Department of Education.
We're going to move it back to the states, let the states, we'll have a little tiny little, just to make sure they're teaching everybody English.